So what's it really going to take for crypto to go totally mainstream? I'm not just talking about for traders and tech folks, but for, everybody. Well, let's get into it, because according to some people deep on the inside, the fuse for a massive explosion in 2026, it's already been lit.
But you gotta ask, why then? What's the magic behind that specific year? The people who are actually building this stuff seem so sure that 2026 is when it all changes. And I'll tell you right now, it has nothing to do with hype or some new coin. It's something way more fundamental.
The whole thing, believe it or not, comes down to one single pivotal piece of legislation that's working its way through the US government. Just one bill that could change the entire landscape.
Okay, so what is this supposed game-changing bill? Insiders are calling it the Market Structure Bill. And you gotta understand, it's designed to be the actual foundation for crypto's future in America.
To put it simply, this bill is all about creating clear rules of the road. I mean, for years, the crypto industry in the US has been stuck in this weird gray area, right? Nobody's really sure who's in charge or what the rules are. This bill is meant to just end all of that confusion for good.
And look, don't just take it from me. John Nagastino, who runs strategy over at Coinbase Institutional, he calls it foundational. This isn't just some minor adjustment. We're talking about the kind of bedrock legislation that entire industries are built on.
So why now? What's the big rush? Well, a lot of the pressure is actually coming from the outside. The US doesn't exist in a bubble. It's smack in the middle of a global tech race.
And when you look at what's happening, the contrast is, well, it's pretty stark. While the US has been bogged down in all this confusion, other places are full steam ahead. I mean, look at the European Union. They've already got their MiCA regulations, which basically create a clear framework. It's like a giant welcome mat for innovation. And the consequence of not acting? Insiders are calling it a burning platform. The US is literally watching talent, money, and new tech just pack up and leave for other countries. And lawmakers are finally waking up to the fact that they're not just falling behind in blockchain, but in everything connected to it, like AI.
Okay, so we get the motivation, but what does this bill actually do? Well, this is where we get to what's being called the Great Corporate Unlock. The moment crypto stops being just a thing to trade and starts becoming the plumbing for everyday business.
To really get this, think about it like this. There was a previous bill, nicknamed the Genius Bill. That one let banks get into the stablecoin game. You know, those digital tokens pegged to the dollar? Well, this new market structure bill, it takes that idea and puts it on steroids. It unlocks the ability to create stablecoins for basically everyone, any company.
Let's just do a quick thought experiment, because this is where it gets really interesting. Imagine just for a second that Amazon creates its own stablecoin. Let's call it Amazon Coin, and you can only use it to buy stuff on Amazon.
All right, here's the question for you. If it cost you a tiny bit extra, let's say $1.01 to get $1 worth of Amazon coin, would you still do it, just for how incredibly convenient it would be to shop on their site? You know what? When experts pose this question, pretty much everybody says yes. Of course they would. That tiny little cost is nothing compared to the convenience. And that right there is the insane power of a captive ecosystem. And it's not just Amazon. Think about Disney, Netflix. Any company with a huge dedicated customer base, they could all create their own little digital ecosystems.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but where's the actual demand for any of this? And this brings us to a really important idea, the massive disconnect between what the public sees and what's actually happening behind the scenes. So if you're on the outside looking in, you're just seeing crypto prices that are kind of flat, and you're probably pretty skeptical. But the insiders, the people at places like Coinbase, they're seeing something totally different. They're talking about an incredible degree of onboarding and frenetic questioning from huge companies in every sector you can imagine. This quote from Nagastino just nails it. He says that, right now, every company in the world knows they need a blockchain and an AI strategy. Because if you don't have one, you have absolutely no hope of scaling in the future. It's becoming that critical.
So, the billion-dollar question is, where's the hard proof of all this pent-up demand? Well, the single best piece of evidence we have is the launch of the Bitcoin ETFs. And the numbers here are they're almost unbelievable. These things weren't just a success. They were the best performing, most bought ETFs ever launched in the entire history of the US stock market. Full stop.
But here's the kicker. This is the detail that changes everything. Financial advisors were not allowed to proactively sell these things. They couldn't call up their clients and pitch them. So all of that record-breaking demand, it was 100% organic.
It was just people calling their brokers and saying, hey, I need to get in on this.
So when you start putting all these different pieces of the puzzle together, a really clear picture starts to form. The future of crypto isn't just about trading. It's about it becoming the new plumbing for corporate America. And this bill is about to turn on the faucet.
It really just boils down to this simple three-step formula. First, you get clarity. The market structure bill provides the clear rules that all the big players have been waiting for. Second, that clarity unlocks utility. Corporations finally feel safe enough to build real-world products. And third, all that utility drives a tidal wave of investment from both big institutions and regular people, as crypto just becomes a part of our daily lives.
Which leaves us with one last, kind of fun question to think about. If this future really does play out, and the brands you use every single day start launching their own currencies, which company's coin do you think would have the biggest impact on your life?